I know the night is late, but when we come back, our very first bill will repeal the funding for 87,000 new hours.
Well, it looks like McCarthy may indeed have learned that MAGA's best days are yet to come. We're going to take a look at the top 5 concessions that McCarthy made to secure his speakership, and we're going to see precisely why they all indicate patriots are prepared to crush the swamp like never before. You're not going to want to miss this. Concession number 5, the Jeffersonian Motion. Now, from now on, it'll only take a single congressperson acting on what's known as a Jeffersonian motion to move to remove the speaker if he or she goes back on their word or policy agenda. In other words, now all you need is a single member of Congress to force a no-confidence vote against the speaker. And this is going to be huge when it comes to the next budgetary battle, the next showdown to raise the debt ceiling in a few months. MAGA forces have been absolutely furious with the way Rhino Republicans have consistently capitulated to the Democrats on spending bills year after year after year, basically giving the Democrats everything they want while leaving the Republicans with the job of having to pay the bill for the Democrats' pork. We just saw that with the Senate Republicans caving in to passing that near $2 trillion monstrosity a couple of weeks back. And so what Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and Chip Roy were all demanding from McCarthy was a parliamentary mechanism that would hold McCarthy accountable to his promise not to go down the Mitch McConnell path and sell out his constituents. And that's exactly what they got with this Jeffersonian motion. McCarthy now has the threat of being ousted at any time dangling over his head to keep him from considering playing nice with the Democrats. Concession number 4, a new church committee. A church-style committee will be convened to look into the weaponization of the FBI and other government organizations against the American people. I'm sure many of you remember the first church committee. And no, I'm not talking about what's happening down the road over at First Presbyterian. The church committee was a Senate committee formed back in 1975 and chaired by Idaho Senator Frank Church. This is back when Idaho actually elected Democrats. Church was a Democrat senator from Idaho, led the investigation into intelligence abuses going on the CIA and NSA, FBI, and of course the IRS, all the deep state 3-letter agencies. Well, we now have breaking news that Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan is going to chair a weaponization of government select committee that's going to look into precisely those kinds of abuses, particularly those abuses taking place with big tech. It's being reported that the internal documents and emails that have been revealed through Elon Musk's ongoing Twitter files are going to be central to this investigation, which of course is huge. Jordan has been on the front lines of the number of whistleblowers who have been from within the FBI, have been coming forward and revealing details of how the Bureau has been deliberately weaponized against patriots and Trump supporters since J6. And so this committee promises some new bombshell revelations that'll further expose the deep state for the corrupt swamp it has become. Concession number 3, individual budget bills. From now on, bills presented to Congress will be single subject, not thrown together as omnibus bills with all the attendant earmarks. And there'll be a mandatory 72-hour minimum period to read them. So from now on, there'll be votes on individual budget bills. There won't be any more $1.7 trillion omnibus monstrosities. Every single bill will be extracted and voted on separately, including, and this is huge, including earmarks, where congressmen vote to approve funding for a bridge or a highway in their district. Earmarks used to be just hidden inside the omnibus package, and literally billions and billions of dollars of pork got funneled through to various districts like that. No more. Now Congress has to vote on earmarks separately, which promises to curb the amount of earmarks that will be approved. Concession number 2, the Rules Committee. The Freedom Caucus got McCarthy to agree to expand the number of members on what's called the Rules Committee, which sets the parameters for passing legislation. And the key here is that Rules Committee is generally controlled by people loyal to the speaker. But now members of the Freedom Caucus, right, many of whom made up the 20 holdouts that voted against McCarthy these last several days, now they're going to be a part of the very committee that sets the parameters for passing legislation. Here's Matt Gaetz on what he called McCarthy's agreement to democratize power among the ultra-MAGA congressmen.
You were quoted as saying the construct of these rules concessions functionally turn the speakership into a ceremonial position. Do you mean that?
Well, Speaker McCarthy is our speaker, and long live the speaker. I look forward to working closely with him, but he did agree, to his great credit, to democratize power to the membership. Oftentimes, these committees that decide what bills come to the floor, what the spending paradigm is, they're controlled just by people loyal to the speaker. Now what we have is a real representation of all of the different viewpoints within our conference. On the Rules Committee, on the Appropriations Committee, we fought hard to get agreements to have conservatives on those committees, to have our budget hawks on appropriations, and I can't wait to see what we're able to do when we unlock the potential of all of our members going forward.
What about the concern that this delayed process weakened him? And to recap, we've got a Democrat in the White House. We've got Democrats running the United States Senate. Don't you need him to be as strong as possible?
Well, I think the way to have a strong Republican position on a lot of these issues is to have strong Republicans on the most relevant committees. And I don't really get the critique that taking from Tuesday to Friday to work this out puts the Republican majority in peril. I mean, you know, Mike, that in the summer, the entire Congress takes like 6 weeks off, where we're not even around at all. So to take 4 days to figure out who's going to be second in line to the presidency and to ensure that we have a House of Representatives that is a fighting force going to check the Biden administration, absolutely worth it.
Well said. Well said. And he could have added that the very legacy media that mocks the Republicans for taking days to elect their speaker is the same legacy media that defends elections that take 6 weeks to determine the winner because of all the mail-in ballots. Kind of odd, isn't it? Before we get into the number one concession made by McCarthy, this year my family and I have decided to declare 2023 as the year of family preparedness in the Turley household. I'm starting off this new year covering all the bases: food, storage, survival kits, and everything my family needs to make sure that we'll survive whatever this upcoming year throws at us. I recently interviewed TJ Johnson, the founder and CEO of Ready Project. And if you haven't watched that interview, gang, you got to do it. I'll link it down below for you. It's awesome. It's an interview that will single-handedly tell you why I'm placing preparedness at the top of my list. I invite you to join me this year in my resolution of family preparedness and take the immediate steps to get yourself and your family prepared today so you can eat tomorrow. And if you act right now, you can take advantage of Ready Project's special offer just for my listeners with huge limited time savings. So don't wait. Click on that link below to learn more about my plan and what I'm doing to make sure my family has all the emergency essentials that'll be needed. Join me, take action, click on that link below, and let's get our families prepared together. And the number one concession made by McCarthy: term limits and the Texas border plan. Okay, I know I snuck in two there, but hey, they're both about limits. They're both about, voting on boundaries. McCarthy finally agreed on bringing a vote on term limits for all members of Congress to the floor, and the comprehensive Texas border plan involving completing Trump's wall, beefing up border enforcement, targeting cartels and drug trafficking, and reforming the legal protocols for processing illegal immigrants inside the United States will be brought up for a vote as well. So there you go. Now, of course, in terms of any legislation passed, it's all DOA in the Senate, but it does give the Republicans a very strong record of accomplishment to run on in 2024. And the oversight committees promise to uncover even more damaging revelations on the Democrats, the deep state, Dr. Fauci, and of course, the Biden crime family. So let the games begin. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Brazil in chaos as anti-Lula protesters storm government buildings. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.